Hey everybody, thanks for watching these videos. Hopefully you're learning something, and maybe I'll learn something along the way too. A few people have asked me about lockup or lockout clutches, what they do, how they operate when you need them, and what's with the clear cover. So first off, we'll say here is your standard clutch kit. Got a pressure plate, got a inner hub where these clutches and steel plates ride in. This whole assembly will ride inside the outer basket that lock in these tabs on each of these fibers. So in a standard clutch setup, you have springs that drop in here, and you will have bolts that tighten down those springs and apply pressure to the fibers and steels, which lock this whole assembly together and rotate the clutch basket when you release the clutch lever. What happens is eventually the more power you make, the heavier springs you will need to hold the power. And at a certain level, you can no longer go to a heavy enough spring where you can pull in the clutch lever and have ease of use, or have a clutch lever that isn't extremely heavy. So that's where the lockup mechanism comes in. This is a centrifugal force, a centrifugal driven mechanism that as it spins, these arms and these bolts are basically, the bolts and nuts on here are weights. And basically the more weight you put on it and the faster this spins, the more pressure these arms will put against the clutch basket, or the pressure plate. So as the clutch is spinning, these weights are pushing out due to centrifugal force. You can look that up on Wikipedia if you don't know what that is or never heard that term. But basically, as this spin, this weight is pivoting and pushing on this arm and applying additional pressure to this pressure plate. So you will still have your clutch springs underneath here, and just for mock-up you'll have 6 springs, or however many you choose to run. But this just goes on top of those springs. It tightens down so it'll sit fully down on this pressure plate. So like I said, at a certain point you'll overcome what you can do with spring pressure, and the lockup or lockout will allow you to increase pressure to hold the power. So there's a lot that goes with that, and generally out of the box for most people's application, a standard clutch springs that came with the bike and a lockup is suitable for moderate builds. On most our builds, we choose to put heavier springs and then the lockup on top of it. Whereas like stock Raptor springs hold low 60s horsepower on a stock clutch setup, or a full fiber mod setup where you're changing out the innermost fiber. Above that, we run springs that hold up to about 75 horse, and then from there we add the lockup clutch. So that's all that mechanism's doing. It's not nothing too crazy, nothing to be scared of. The clear covers, or the outer covers, modified side covers, many bikes just use an outer section. On the Raptor, the main cover is modified to allow an adapter because it doesn't have a factory quick change. Basically, these are just allowing additional room to have this mechanism in there. So you can, every bike I've seen, you can run the clear cover with whatever emblem in there, or logo or design in there, without adding this piece in. So you can just add the cover for cosmetic purpose or to see through. Personally, I don't care too much about seeing through there anymore, but it's kind of fancy, something to look at. With clutch tuning, there's a lot of the guys who are racers get into changing these weights to apply more or less pressure at different times. It's kind of a balance between how much spring pressure, how much base pressure you want to run versus how much weight you want to run on the arms. So with base pressure and the weight on the arms, you can really control how a bike works, how much tire you have to put on it, how it comes out of the hole, if it's wheeling or burning off the tire or that sort of thing. You can control a lot in the clutch setup itself. That is more for the advanced guys. If you need weights, HOD makes this really nice weight kit. There's their number there. They're out of Oregon here, and these are all set up in different gram weight. Basically, those go right on those 1/4-inch bolts. You'll have to run longer bolts, but they have all these in different gram weights. These kits are relatively inexpensive for what you get. I think that's the largest weight he has there, 14 grams. That's a lot of weight added to the arms. But hopefully that helps somebody see what they're trying to do. Like I say, spring pressure first will normally get you where you need to go. As you make more power, the lockup kit is required in most cases, and you can go from there. If you got a more moderate build, like I wouldn't worry too much about tuning that in unless you're going through clutches. So that's the rundown. Many different companies make these kits. Do a little research on what works best for your model bike. Alright, thanks guys.